Well, hello and welcome. This is my first energy report for 2023. I hope you had a good Christmas break and New Year's break. I'm Karen Turpin from karenturpin.com if you don't know who I am. I'm happy to say that we all survived 2022. I survived it, you survived it. Not everybody did, sadly. It was a very challenging year for many of us, wasn't it? Probably all of us, actually. And really, you would have to have been hiding under a rock to not realize that something really major is happening on the planet with timelines and the reality of what it is that we're all experiencing here. And yet, now and again, we still come across these people, don't we, that seem to have no idea of this major thing that's happening. I really wonder where they've been the last 3 years. I don't know if their head is stuck in the sand, if they're choosing to be so blinkered, or if they really just can't get through, if it can't get through into their consciousness that something dramatic is occurring all around them. Maybe they're just completely clueless. And in fact, I met a lady at the weekend who was this, completely clueless. I was thinking to myself, the problem with clueless and ignorant people is that they have no idea they're clueless and ignorant. Yes, you can say that's a judgment, but at the end of the day, sometimes you just have to look at them and say, whoa, my goodness, this is not an ego judgment. It is a statement of fact, is it not? I'm sure you know people like that too. So I wasn't directly in the conversation with this lady at the weekend. I was witness to it. It was happening with a member of the group that I was with, family member. And, they were having this conversation with them. And my goodness, it was astounding to watch her in action. All she could do was throw around the word, conspiracy theories. And as if that was the answer to everything. So it wasn't actually my conversation, but to be honest, just listening. When I realized where she was at with that, I just had to walk away and leave them to it. It was psychically, energetically painful for me to bear witness to that for any longer, because the divide of where she was to where we were on a scale of consciousness, it was massive. There would be no meeting point, I don't think. No meeting point for us. I don't think at any level we could have met on the same level of consciousness. And I've got to say that I do believe we will see more and more of this as the time moves forward through this year and through the next few years, really. So whilst I still see a beautiful outcome for us, really, so many people write to me about these energy reports and they say, oh, thank you so much. It gives me hope, this kind of thing. I know that these energy reports are very supportive to people. I absolutely hold the belief that in the end, we do come to a beautiful place, a beautiful outcome, a beautiful way to live together. But we're not there yet. And it's more important than ever, I think, that we stay really focused and stay focused on track to stand up for, probably demand the truth in all things. We know that there are a lot of fakes out there, saying one thing, doing another. We see the lies. They've been thrown at us specifically over the last 3 years, but for time immemorial, we've been lied to. Things have been hidden from us. All of this is going to come out in the end. Don't worry about that. It all will come out. But we must not continue to lie to ourselves either. We can't expect the world to change all around us if we're not willing to change. And just as the lies and the deceit and the darkness in the world is definitely starting to come up into the light, and will come up more and more into the light. But we can't expect that all to change in the world if there are still lies and deceit and darkness within ourselves that we're not willing to bring up to the light to be seen and healed and cleared. It's as within, so without, right? So we must also get our thoughts and words and deeds congruent. To be whole and complete and authentic, we simply must face ourselves, and we must stop lying to ourselves too about the truth of who we are, about the power that we hold within us, really. And believe me, we are so much more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. And if we could fully step into that, we would see a world that changes very much more quickly, because, the dark side or the cabal or the powers that be, whatever you want to call that, they are absolutely relying on the fact that we don't know who we are, that we don't know the power that is within us. And, I've been into empowerment for many, many years with the healing and coaching and teaching work that I do, but I just feel that ramping up more and more. I feel probably even more passionate now about helping people to step into the truth of who they are, and myself too, I've got to say, because I, over this last year, 2022, I've learned a lot about myself. I've dug deeper and deeper into myself. I've been creating a series of courses, which are all part of my Abundant Woman Academy, that have taken me deeper and deeper into myself. You really can't create things, that are true and authentic anyway, unless you go deep inside yourself. And I've noticed over the years that, when I have several clients coming to me with the same issue, one after the other, I realize there's something in it that I need to look at. My clients reflect to me my weak spots. I learn a lot from my clients. It's a mutual relationship, right? So I've been creating these courses over 2022, and as I've looked at the type of work I want to put into those courses, I also see the areas that I need more work on as well. So I've been doing a lot of work on myself in 2022, and that will continue forever, and it should for all of us. So, as we dig into ourselves to become more and more authentic, more and more real and true, our own lies and our blind spots have to be brought up into the light as well. So here I was with this, witnessing this discussion with this lady who was literally poles apart from where I was, from where our group was actually, on a scale of consciousness. And, here we are, we think we're all together. Humanity is all together. And yet through our choices, we begin to split apart. There is a divide happening in the timelines here on the planet at the moment. As I say, if people don't know that something major's happening, where have they been? We are at this time of, you could call it a timeline split, you could call it a fracturing of consciousness, fracturing of the timelines, fragmenting of consciousness. We also call it a bifurcation. Bi meaning two, fication meaning dividing or branching or forking. So here we are, we're at this point where there's a fork in the road. We've been going along a pathway and we meet the fork in the road, and it's a bifurcation as well. So it's happening on many, many levels. We've already seen families and friendship groups absolutely torn apart because they don't agree on whether you should put something over your face and not breathe properly, in my view. But anyway, put a mask over your face, of course. We've seen people arguing about stupid things like signing in and QR coding and all of this stuff. We've seen families, friends torn apart by people's choices on whether to have a gene modification program put into their arm or not. All of that has been happening in the last 3 years, and that in itself has had an impact on consciousness, because we each make a decision about whether we participate in that agenda or not. And there is always a cause and effect involved in that, in every choice we make. My goodness, there is a cause and effect involved in whether I choose to have, dessert, really. On the food I put into my body, on the alcohol or, low calorie sugar, aspartame drinks or water, even my water. There's a choice there. Do I drink tap water with fluoride in, or do I drink filtered water? Every single action we take, every thought we have, there's a cause and effect that goes along with that. So many of us are experiencing a rapid growth right now in our consciousness, in our connection to spirit. It's a spiritual awakening, or another level of a spiritual awakening for us. And yet for many others, they are experiencing a rapid decline in their connection with spirit, literally a moving away. So here we are, we're in this place, and we will be moving away from some people because the gap between us is widening. We're at the fork in the road. So whereas some people are experiencing this massive, expansive, rapid growth in our understanding of consciousness and timelines on the planet, and yet there's these other people in a rapid decline for various reasons, some of which I'll touch on. So here we are, we're poles apart from the people that maybe our family members or our friendship groups. It's that fork in the road. We've been going along together, and now our choices, our decisions, the consequences, the action, all of that is moving us apart. There's the bifurcation, the fork in the road, right? So these people that live in our physical reality, we may even be in the same house as them. Through their choices and actions, they will begin to experience a very different reality than the one we experience, even though we live in the same town, in the same street, in the same home. We may work with some of these people. They may be on the other side of the world, but they think and make choices in the same way as us, and they will experience a similar reality. And the opposite as well, of course. So I can't stress enough that we need to be strong spiritually and emotionally and psychologically too, to witness some of the things that we will have to witness over the coming years. It can be heartbreaking to lose friendships and family because you don't see eye to eye on things. And I know that we've all gone through this in the last 3 years, and that will continue. It would be nice if there were a coming back together again. But I have to say I have witnessed fundamental changes in people based on their decisions. Let's just leave it at that. She says, trying to walk on safe ground. And I don't always, of course. But finding your tribe will become more and more important as we move forward. Community is important. The right community is important. I've come across people who are the only one in their family who believe, that certain things shouldn't have been made mandatory, and they're the only one in their family or their friendship group or their office at work or their community. And they feel very, very alienated, and they are still not willing to move away from that community to find a like-minded group, because it's all they've ever known. And there is it's a core fear actually of humans to be alone. We feel we need to be part of a tribe, and that obviously goes back to the proverbial saber-toothed tiger, and you're safer in a tribe, all of that stuff. But it is in there, it's in our wiring somewhere. So finding your tribe, your community, will become more and more important, particularly if the community that you're with currently is wanting to go that way and you're wanting to go that way. Don't make yourself go that way just to fit in with them and belong. This is a choice point for you to say, right, okay, where is my truth? Can I be authentic? Can I really stand for something that I believe strongly in, even if it means that I go that way and they go that way? So here is a choice point for you. It is your fork in the road, right? I'm very keen to develop my online communities in order that I can support people going through this and experiencing this. And we will move through a time of more and more unrest as we move forward. So I want to be one of the connection points for people to reach out to. I'm also looking to create more physical groups too, to meet people in person, to work, to help them to develop spiritually, to understand really what's going on in the timelines of the planet. Work on our development as a group, because when we come together in groups, it's very, very powerful. We know that they've done experiments about people coming together to meditate as a group, and the shift in consciousness when we meet together in groups like that. You've probably heard me talk about that stuff before. Anyway, if you're local to my area, where I am on the Central Coast in New South Wales, Australia, reach out to me. Maybe we can get together and meet in community, because I am actively working to find a space where we can meet to do that. So reach out. We know that solitary confinement is one of the most psychologically damaging and painful things that can be done to a human. And of course, they've done that to us over the last 3 years. Now we know that we're allowed, for most of us anyway, we're allowed out and about now. But still, people have spoken to me about how they don't feel safe because of the choices they made, because of their viewpoints. They may be in a group where a conversation starts, and they realise they're the only one in that group that holds a different set of values to the others, and in that moment they feel unsafe. Now we could liken this to the witch wound, which many of us as healers and teachers, light workers, hold that witch wound within us. It's something that I'm working on with my group in my next upcoming course called Authentically You, because it really stops us from being who we truly are. So let me give you this example. Suppose that you were a witch, which we know really mostly are healing men and women. If you were a healer in a past life and you were burnt at the stake, that is etched in your DNA, in your consciousness. It will be there. Now, if at any point your soul has decided that at a certain point in time in your life, you will wake up and you will become that healer once again. You will tap into that ancient wisdom and the innate gifts and talents that you hold within you. If your soul decided that at a certain point you would wake up and do that, then, well, here is this awakening happening within you, and yet you find yourself in a group where they are very active in their condemnation, perhaps, or judgment of healers, so-called healers, light workers, spiritual people, star seeds, whatever word is in that discussion, if you were about to branch out as a healer, to stand in your truth and say, I have these gifts and talents that I would like to share, in that moment, in that group, you can feel very, very unsafe, uncomfortable. And what's actually happened is that there's like a trigger response all the way back to your witch wound or healer's wound that you're carrying deep within you that is not healed and processed and fully understood yet. I've completely got off track of my notes, so allow me a moment to backtrack and see where I'm going with it. I was talking about feeling unsafe, right? Because so many people have approached me and said they don't feel safe. When we have been suppressed in the truth of who we are, in the truth of the gifts and talents that we hold, we're in this time right now. You could liken it to the witch hunt, the witch trials where people were judged and condemned for their beliefs. It's almost like a parallel timeline, is it not? Because here we are again being judged, and they call us conspiracy theorists these days, but it's a similar thing. People are judging you, condemning you, and people are feeling unsafe. So this is why I feel it's important to come together in communities of like-minded people, because there are very many of us that hold the same views, just as there are many of them that hold their views, whatever way round that is, right? So even though we are allowed out and about now, we're not locked up in our homes for the most part. Some places are still locked down more than others, of course. But we're allowed out and about, but still people don't feel safe. And it is often a rewind back to that trigger event that happened in a past life. Obviously, I do a lot of past life work with my clients, and we discover these things. But it can still be unhealed within us, very active as well in these current times where we don't feel safe. And it's like, whoa, I don't feel safe to come out as I truly am. And yet we're also in this time where we really have to step into our truth and be authentically who we are. So you can see then, right, it's a very challenging time. Some people have still not fully recovered from living in isolation in a lockdown. It's very, very damaging psychologically, and all the fear comes up. And some people are still struggling to accept the changes that were forced upon them. They've lost jobs, they've lost livelihoods, they've lost friends and family, both because they don't agree on things, and physically because family and friends have passed away. Lost the ability to travel and access certain services, and some of these changes were forced upon people. They didn't really want to go ahead with mandates and things, but they did. And some people regret their decisions and they're challenged by it still. So you can see collectively there's still a lot of trauma and pain out there about what has been put upon people in the last few years. People are searching to find a place where they belong. And it may well be that you are the only one in your current community that's choosing to go up this different fork in the road, as I mentioned before. So I want to say, you're not alone. You're not alone. You may feel that way, but please reach out. If you're a fit for my communities, you're welcome to join my communities. If not, if you're interested in what I do and what I talk about and what I offer, please come and join us. If I'm not a fit for you, there will be someone that is. So please keep searching. Don't feel alone. And of course, mental health is very important in all of this. We don't want people feeling alone. So reach out to someone, please, if you're feeling that. Moving forwards, I plan to hold in-person events. I've spotted a couple of locations that I'd really love to do retreats, so I would like to work on that going forward. Of course, you know that I work predominantly with women, but in the future, who knows, maybe I will open that up again for men to join us. I just don't know at this point. I plan to hold in-person psychic development and meditation classes. I've done that for 25 years. Haven't done it in recent years, of course, but these in-person classes will be starting again in the next few weeks. I have my course Authentically You opening up on the 30th of January. That's online, available to people all around the world. My clients are all around the world. I'm also offering a free New Year, New You activation and clearing session for people, 2nd of February. That's happening. So if you want details of any of this, just message me. Reach out. It's me that answers you. I don't have a VA or a artificial intelligence or a messenger bot that answers you. If you reach out to me, you get me, because to me, that is what it means to be authentic and real, and I am trying my very best to be real and authentic. I still have my stuff that comes up. I'm still working on myself because I'm actually no different to you. Maybe I'm ahead in one thing, but I'm certainly not ahead in everything. And so reach out to me. Now, if you're wondering if I'm the right person to work with, if we really are on the same wavelength or not, I also offer free, I call them clarity calls. Get on the Zoom or the phone with me and let's have a chat and see if we are a right match, okay? Because that's how we build friendships and communities. So that's what I've got going on. What else have we got? What have I mentioned? I've mentioned bracing yourself for more of this divide or bifurcation. I've mentioned the need to be spiritually strong for what we will need to witness coming up. And this will mean loved ones and people that you know suffering terrible health challenges in some situations. Some, not all, of course. We will have to witness this so-called sudden death that they're talking about now. I'm sorry, I can't sugarcoat this for you. It's a fact. If I don't say it, I'll be lying and trying to cover things up. And I won't do that. I am a truth speaker. I speak the truth as I see it. My perception, my understanding of it might not agree with me, but I'm speaking my truth, my opinion, right? My opinion is that we will need to be very strong because over time, these sudden deaths, these health challenges, we will witness it in people that we love and care for, and it will affect every one of us. Our connection with spirit will be what carries us through those hard times. When we have a spiritual understanding of timelines, what's really going on the planet, it helps. The cause and effect, the spiritual contracts, what people came here to experience, the soul purpose. People even come here and they set up choice points along the way. Do I marry this person who is not a right fit, but I'm scared I won't find anyone else, so okay, I'll go and do it. That was a choice point. Do I, take a job in, a chicken factory when I say that I care for animals or that I'm a vegan? There's a choice point. A choice point will be, do I get a gene modification thing put in my arm because I believed them and didn't do my own research properly? That's a choice point, and I'm not judging or condemning any of them, but they're choice points along your way that help build you to who you truly are. Your truth, right? This is about your truth. So these spiritual contracts, these markers along the way, these choice points along the way also guide us towards stepping onto the path that is our soul path, right? Understanding these things will help us as we move through. to make sense of what the heck is going on, because there's more big shifts to come. Understanding how these things work will help. And I'd like to share more of that understanding with my communities as we move forward. It's my opinion, it's my perception, and it's what I access in higher vision and higher consciousness. So in that collective consciousness level, I get a sense of what people are feeling and experiencing, and I'm given that higher viewpoint, right? May not match for everybody. I'm not a match for everybody, and that's exactly as it should be. So facing reality, being truthful with yourself. If you know you have health issues, address them. Don't keep ignoring them. Whether that could be that you need to detox, whether you actually need to exercise more, whether that means that you need to do a parasite cleanse. Whatever you need to do to build a stronger body, do it. A strong body will be important going forward. We're surrounded, bombarded by environmental toxins. The more we can do to strengthen ourselves, it will lead us to a better outcome in the future. You know, that's just the truth. Don't lie to yourself about what you need to do. Just kind of get off of your arse and do it. And believe me, I'm hearing that message for myself too, because I'm not perfect. Have you ever had that feeling where you just think, oh God, I really need to do a parasite cleanse. I really need to do a detox for a few weeks. And then you ignore it and carry on with your life as normal. And then the message comes again. Oh, you really need to do a detox because, you know, you're not feeling as clear as you could, right? How many times do you want to ignore that? That's you could say your spirit, your higher self, your inner guidance, your soul. It's trying to get your attention. It's listen to it. That's your intuition. And I love teaching intuition, not far from psychic development. So in the courses I'm offering, the classes, all of that we're going to be addressing. And it's all geared with getting you more and more attuned to yourself. But I promise you, when you start listening to those intuitive messages, you can kind of do this for yourself. You know, you've got to strip back the old habits and patterns of ignoring your truth and, you know, step into it. All of that stuff. You probably know some of that or all of it anyway. So let me talk about healing. If you know you have emotional stuff, spiritual stuff, mental, psychological, physical, all of it, right? If you know you have stuff that you're not facing up to, just deal with it. Just get on with it. Go to someone experienced who can really help you dig into it so that you fully clear it and heal it. The changes happen within us as opposed to, sometimes you can go and have these feel-good healing sessions. I call them healing sessions. They could be feel-good sessions. You feel good for a few days, but nothing really changes, right? And you feel that stuckness. I'm an expert at stuckness, probably because I did it to myself for so long, but I have a knack of seeing where people are stuck and really getting into that to help them move through it. You know, honestly, I know people that have healing sessions and numerous tarot or psychic readings. Some of them have healing sessions every single week and their life is still a total shitstorm. Excuse my French. They feel like crap. Their life is crap. And yet they have these healing sessions and they tell themselves they're getting better. Believe me, if your life is not changing, if you're not feeling better, getting better, if you're not seeing positive results from your healings or your tarot readings that you're having done, they're not working. Sorry to be so blunt. For a healing session, for a reading to be good, you need to see evidence that it is changing you from within, and then seeing the reflection in your life, the inner, the outer reflection, right? If it's a good healing session, coaching session, hypnotherapy session, reading, whatever it is that you're doing, if it's a good session, you will change on the inside, and that change will be reflected on the outside, and you will see signs that your life is changing and getting better. You can't change your life if you don't change something within you and in your environment. So it's really important that these changes are occurring. If you're one of these people that have these healing sessions and then nothing changes, well, then you've got to look at that and say, well, is this healer any good? Now, she may be good, or she or he may be good for other people, but just not you, because we've got to find our perfect match, right? If your healer, coach, teacher is not helping you make changes that take you to the next level, well, you need to find somebody else. Anyway, you probably know what I mean by that. But please don't lie to yourself. Don't tell yourself, oh yeah, I'm working through this. I'm getting better. If you can't see any changes, well, it's either because the healer isn't really helping, or the coach, or because you are just refusing to make the changes inside that they've guided you to make, told you need to make, or maybe you know you need to make, right? There needs to be some change. So if you want to make this year great, stop mucking around. Make some changes. I'm trying to say this with kindness and love, but I want to be forceful as well and say, for God's sake, get your head out of the sand and do the work, right? If you want to make this year great, and I actually believe it can be a freaking amazing year, because I really sense this supportive energy coming in, because we're in that bifurcation, as I've mentioned, and time is speeding up. So when you make the right choices, you're going to speed through it if you take the action steps and get the work done. Take those steps. I really believe it can be an amazing year if you take the steps, if you find the people to support you, to move you forward, right? Just do it. Just do it. If you think that you want to talk to me to find out if I'm the right person, just message me. We can have a free chat to see if I'm the right person to help you. I don't work with people that I don't think I can help, because it annoys me. I like to help my clients. I like to see the changes that they're making. If I can't help you, I'll tell you I'm not the right person for you. Join my communities. Go and sign up with something, or to do something that you've been thinking about doing for a while. If you've been thinking about doing it for a while, that's your inner guidance, gently nudging you. Well, I'm going to come along behind you and boot your ass and say, for feck's sake, get on with it, right? Your guidance is there pushing you. So I will be that person pushing you off the edge of the cliff with the leap of faith, knowing that you will be supported if you just follow your inner guidance and step out. Because that's how I like to work, and I've seen it work with thousands of clients, that if you just tune in, get your guidance and step forward, it will work out beautifully. It's not always necessarily easy, but that's how we learn and grow. And remember, I've talked about getting spiritually strong, a strong spiritual backbone, to get the overall understanding of what all of this is, because it will really strengthen and fortify you through the challenging times that I know we are all going to have to witness. So, do something to shift the energy, to make a change, to create a change, because if nothing is changing in your life, you're stagnant and you're stuck. If you don't know what you need to do to change, I'm good at helping people find where the stock point is so that you can get moving again. Very, very important. If you imagine that you're swimming up a swimming up a river, right, and the current's coming down. Think of salmon, right? How they swim upstream to spawn. Oh, so you're swimming up the river and you've been doing your work for a while. I'm not saying that you know nothing. I know that you will have had levels of spiritual awakening, or else you wouldn't even be listening to me. So you'd be swimming up this river. Now is not the time to take a little rest and cruise, because you'll get drifted all the way back, because that bifurcation is so strong and powerful. If the expansion of consciousness and connection with spirit is the path that you've chosen to take, don't sit back on your laurels now, because you will drift right back into the shitstorm that's going to occur. That is a prediction for 2023, by the way. There is a shitstorm going to occur, but you don't have to be in it. So get on with your work, the things that your consciousness is telling you to do. Detox, exercise, do more meditation, do some psychic development, cleanse your body, change your diet, change your people you hang out with, whatever it is for you, just freaking do it. Put it into action. Oh my goodness, that's enough from me, I think. Now I need to go and get myself a cup of tea, because that's my sustenance through the day. I hope this has been helpful to you. I know it was long. I've spoken a long time because that's what I do. It's me being authentically who I am. I mentioned I've got upcoming courses, classes, groups. Please DM me, reach out to me if you feel that you'd like to be a part of what I offer. Otherwise, have an amazing week. I will see you next Monday. Reach out if you need help. Have a beautiful week and stay positive and get moving with those things that you want to do. And that's it for me. Have a great week. Bye-bye for now.